So, latest update. I made up all the brackets for the rear mounts here on both sides. They're all tucked into the frame. And the outside, they're tacked on. And then in the front, a lot of people just go metal to metal in the front here. And I think that's rather rough. You know, you got rubber mounts back here. Why not have a rubber mount up there? So I took some 2-inch square stock, cut it at a bit of an angle to be able to bolt it in the factory location. Reason why you have to make a mount for these is because on the Corvettes there's a solid aluminum brace that comes off of this and goes right to the transmission. So this is supported by the transmission. So what I ended up doing was the control arm bushings that I had metal that I machined to fit. I took another chunk of that, and I just happened to have a extra leaf spring bushing laying around, a new one. So I made that to length and machined it out to fit and pressed the bushing in. And this is just tacked in at the moment. I'm still going to do a filler piece here and finish weld everything. But the reason why I figured I'd make a update now is you always want to double check yourself. Double check, triple check, however many times you have to. Because if you happen to notice, there's a little weld right there. And there's a little weld right there. And there's a little weld right there. And another one right there. Looks like they were cut off of something. And they look awfully similar to that tack weld there. And that tack weld there. And same evidence up here. Here's a tack weld here that's been cut off. And there's an identical one there for the forward now. And the same over here. I don't know if you remember in one of my earlier videos, I mentioned that I'm lengthening the wheelbase 1.5 inches to give more clearance at the dog leg. Well, the rims that I'm using are 18s in the front, 19s in the rear. So initially I was taking my measurements off of the back of the rim. Wheelbase is measured dead center in your hub to dead center in the hub of the back wheels. Well, I had 18s in the front, 19s in the rear. And initially I was measuring off of this edge here instead, because it's a lot easier to get your tape measure lined up here than trust somebody to be floating it and saying it's centered here. So I typically go here, and then I'll go to the same spot on the back wheel. So back of the front wheel, back of the rear wheel. Now if they're both the same size rim, that's no problem. But where this is an 18 and that's a 19, I had to add a 1/2 inch to my measurements. Now I was getting everything set up, I made all my brackets. Once I got all the brackets fitted and started getting my final measurements ready, I decided rather than hooking in here to have my brother hook the tape measure in the front and go to the front of the wheel. And I was still adding that 1/2 inch, which if you're going front to front and the back wheel's bigger, you got to take off a 1/2 inch when there's an inch difference in the wheel. So I ended up welding in, tacking everything in place an inch further back than I wanted. So rather than 1.5 inches, I was going to have 2.5 inches longer wheelbase, which I didn't want. So I ended up just tacking together some scrap metal, made a little brace, made another brace here, down to there with a skid across the ground, another brace here for this one, another brace here, another brace here. So, because I had everything all zip tied, propped, and jury rigged into place to get everything perfectly level. And I had already cut all that off after I made my tacks. So rather than trying to backtrack everything, I just made this so I could cut everything off, cut all these tacks, and it's all supported right to the ground. And then I was able to just slide the rear end forward an inch on both sides, and then take my measurement here, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, and know that I moved it exactly 1 inch, and I didn't have to worry about the height or the pinion angle or anything at that point. And also about pinion angle, in case if I ever need to change the pinion angle later on in life, where all this is fixed mounted, all welded, bolted through, welded, and bolted through the rear end, I added a 3/8 shim in here before welding all this. So if I have to move my pinion angle, I can either add shims, but I can also take out the shim and put in a smaller one or whatever I need to get my exact pinion angle I want. So that's the latest update. And now I'm going to cut off all this crap I tacked on here and finally get moving forward again. Do another update later. Thanks for watching.